Hello, it's me, Deborah, back again. I really wanted to shoot this video out here in the woods today because I wanted to talk about the power of nature and how much we can benefit when we connect to it, when we spend time in nature, when we allow ourselves to just be in a beautiful space of nature. I have always loved nature, and I have been a videographer and photographer of nature specifically for decades. I always took pictures of people too, but I always said I preferred nature to people just because nature's so beautiful and calming. And I had a really difficult relationship that it's been a couple years now, so I can talk about it, but during that time, I was traveling throughout South America and doing medicine work, plant medicine work, and I shot thousands of hours of footage, and my ex kept it all. And that was like heartbreaking for me because I really put my heart into it. I always have the camera up, and I'm always taking video and pictures of nature. And after that happened, it was really hard for me. It was really traumatic for me and triggering at times to video stuff. I couldn't help it. I would still video things, but I wouldn't pull out the big camera. I wasn't doing all the things I would do before because I just felt like I already did that. And I don't need to go there again. It was painful. But I'm so grateful that I've reached a place where I've released that trauma. It was a real trauma of that relationship. And it doesn't have to taint and affect my present. So I have been recently just rediscovering and enjoying being in nature. Well, I've always enjoyed being in nature, but filming it again and capturing it intentionally with the intention to share it. And I went to the woods a couple days ago and just had this beautiful meditative walk. And I have to tell you, I think the number one reason to go into nature is to just get cleansed. To just let the spirit of the forest, the mountains, the ocean, the meadow, the swamp, wherever you are, the power of nature and the spirits that live in those places is so much bigger than us. And it can really clear and absorb any unwanted emotions and energies that we might be carrying. So I had just been kind of run down from working a lot and thinking a lot. And I wanted to cleanse that energy. I was very intentional about it. I went on this walk very intentionally. And it was, it wasn't especially windy, but there'd be an occasional breeze. And I just allowed myself to enjoy that. There was nobody on the trail. It was like the late evening at dusk, so nobody was out there. So I had it to myself, and I found a little big boulder. And I sat on that boulder and just sat and looked up at the trees all around me, protecting me with their wisdom, with their strength. It brought me back to when I was a child. One of my favorite activities growing up in Florida was to lay on the grass and stare at the light coming through the leaves of the trees. And just how meditative that is. And how I could just get lost in that space. And so I just want to say that going into nature is so valuable and necessary for all of us. On the one hand, it's cleansing us, but on the other hand, it's also a meditation. When I go into nature, I get to be with the spirits of the land, of the trees, of the forest, of the mountains. Wherever you are, you get to commune with those energies. And when you make time to not just walk, because walking is fantastic, but if you can actually stop, make time, plan to stop for 10, 15 minutes on your journey and just take in your surroundings, listen. Listen to the sounds of the crickets, the frogs, the birds. It's so beautiful. So I sat on this boulder and just sat and thanked the forest and the trees for being there, for allowing me to be there. And at one point, before I got up, I said, thank you to the forest for cleansing me. And suddenly all the birds started chirping. And I don't know if you've ever done this, but it's one of the things I like to do is I whistle back to the birds to talk to them. I try to mimic their bird song back to them. And if you ever have the opportunity to do this, I really encourage it, because you get to have an energetic communication and exchange with an animal. And in this case with birds. So I did that for a few minutes, just whistling back and forth, talking to the birds, letting them communicate with me, letting them know that I want them to communicate with me. And it was really beautiful. And you might think, what is the point? Why do that? I got a to-do list. I got things to do. Why should I bother? Take time out of my day to sit and whistle to the birds? Yeah. The benefits, the blessings of taking the time to do that are innumerable. But I think the main one that's so hard to put my finger on, is that it just raises my energy. I've got this channel called Elevated Energy, and one of the things that definitely elevates my energy is spending time in nature, communing with it, taking time to pause in nature. So not just constantly moving, but just stopping and being with it. And soaking it up. And being grateful for all of it. And it just reminded me in that moment, I did shoot some footage, and it reminded me in that moment how much I love nature. How the reason that I was even shooting videos and just shooting photographs of nature to begin with was because I'm wanting to capture that energy, that moment, and bring it with me. And so since that walk last week, I came to the conclusion that I really want to include more of my love of nature and my photographs and videos of nature with my spiritual and inspirational content, because it's very much a part of it. Nature is truly interwoven with all of that. And so I will be sharing more of that to come. But just getting back to the nature and how awesome it is. I feel so at peace right now, just standing here. Wherever you are, find a piece of nature and get out into it. If you can get to a forest, if you can get far away from people, that's fantastic. But if you can't, don't worry. It's okay. You can find nature in the city. I used to do this all the time. I would find a crack in the sidewalk where a weed had sprouted up, a supposed weed. They call them weeds, but they're all just valuable plants to our planet. And I have sat there and meditated on this plant that has the strength and courage and energy to rise up from concrete and grow. And that by itself is a meditation. I have found myself meditating on a trail of ants, or the the wind or blowing the leaves. So you don't have to get to a far remote place to enjoy nature, to be grateful for what it has to share with you, to benefit from its beautiful energy. All you have to do is take the time. Find nature exactly where you are. Maybe all you've got is a potted plant. You can meditate on that potted plant, I assure you. But certainly when you can, take the time to get out, even if it's 10 or 15 minutes. It makes such a huge difference. I hear a woodpecker. So anyway, it's not always possible for me to make videos in nature, but I much prefer it. Like, this place makes me feel alive. And that's what I want to share with people. So I'm also going to be doing videos that are really visual meditations, just capturing 5 to 10 minutes of just being still in nature and the beauty of that. And I really just want to share what that does for me with other people. And I think that's all I have to say today. There's so much more to say in general, but yeah, I'm gonna actually go for a nice long hike now, and I am gonna bring my tripod, and when I get to a nice spot, set it up and just meditate and let the camera roll. And I look forward to sharing that footage with you. Thanks, and have a great day.